Hey everyone, it's Sunday. We had some steak night. I saw Nate, you did steak night as usual on Sunday. Is that right?
Yes, I did.
We're just checking in on you guys. It's a little later than normal, but whatever. Whatever. I had steak night myself tonight. This is where, so for anyone that hasn't watched the Sunday sessions, this is something that it's not your typical podcast. It's Nate and myself. We've had other surprise guests in the past. Who knows what will happen tonight? Usually about 30 to 60 minutes. And we're not reviewing anything. We're just kind of checking in, talking about this week's podcast, and then also just things that have happened. Basically just a bullshit session, just like it sounds. That's it. So how was steak night, Nate?
Good.
Oh. Yeah, I know. I'm on my phone tonight. And I'm a rookie here.
Yeah, you forgot to turn the volume down.
I'm a rookie. It's fine. It's fine.
No, steak night was fine. It's nice when you get the timing down for everything, where the vegetables and the steak all get done at the same time.
Yeah,
that's always a great accomplishment. Felt good after doing some of the lawn work that I ended up doing today that I had no intention on doing whatsoever.
Yeah.
We were sitting outside, and Jess looks up at the red maple tree in our backyard, and it's starting to bloom, and she notices that there's some branches that don't have any leaves on them. She's like, I think those branches are dead. And I still have my landlord's tree saw in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, she noticed the branches that are all the way at the top of the tree. So I actually had to climb into the tree and extend the thing in order to cut the branches down. So after that, I was like, I deserve steak and wine.
You were going to do steak and wine anyway, so I don't know about dessert. You probably did, but I mean, you were going to do it anyway. So, speaking of which, what are you drinking?
Yeah.
That's not wine.
JTS Brown. That's not wine. The bottle's gone. That bottle's empty.
Jonathan Heron says, watching my Braves beating up on those Cubbies, Steve. Yeah, I'm aware. And I got a random text from another friend, just said, ha. And I was like, what are you? And about an hour later, I turned on the TV after grilling, and I was like, oh. It was Brad Grimsley. He's a huge Braves fan. So, bunch of dicks out there. I'll tell you that right now.
What was going on with the game?
Cubs were losing, and the Braves were winning by quite a bit.
Okay.
Turns out. And then him in the flesh says, much love from Newark. He's on YouTube, so good seeing you, Ryan's friend. I'm drawing a blank on what the name is, so let me know again, because I know we hung out in the shop at one point. Your what do they call? It's not a call sign. What is it? Him in the flesh. It's a username, but I know that's something dealing with the stuff that he does. So we appreciate the support. Always good seeing you on here and supporting the YouTube station as well. And for everyone else there, share it, like it, or just that's what it was. Jonathan Herring says Braves hit 4 homers in the first. Ouch. That's a rough start.
Yeah. Not if you're the Braves.
True. Let me light. Where's my? Oh, I'm still smoking that Monte Cristo. You're not smoking anything. You're inside.
Yeah, I'm in the living room.
I mean, you could. I mean, legally.
Legally, I could. Landlord probably wouldn't be a big fan of it, but
yeah, probably not. Now I'm smoking the Monte Cristo 1935 that I told you I found in the 3-finger case that Josh gave me, and I finally was like, I should open that up and take a look at it again. And there's 3 cigars in there.
And it's been sitting in your garage for how many months?
A few months.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
They're smoking fine. I mowed the front lawn today. Luckily, did not harm any bunnies this time around.
Good.
It was not good. I don't know if anyone out there has ever had an incident with the mower with an animal, but it's not fun.
No, it's not pretty.
I feel really bad. It was like a horror movie. It was like a Saw movie.
Yeah,
not a Saw movie. It's just a horror movie.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Didn't have a face. Didn't have a face.
I used to have a classmate in grade school that used to do way worse things.
Terrible.
Intentionally, though. way worse things. He ended up going to juvie. So
That's typically how it works, and then become serial killers or something like that.
exactly. So thankfully, he wasn't an enemy of mine, or I wasn't an enemy of his. So
You always have to be nice to those people.
yes.
That way you don't end up in a soup. That's just good life advice.
When I was in school, people used to think I was that guy. Like I was going to be that one.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Well, no,
It's still early, though. It's still early.
Well, that's
Jonathan
right.
Harris probably became a serial killer.
Yeah. No, I got until the age of 45. After the age of 45, I'm in the clear.
All right, good. So no murders that we know of, or you're going to admit to at this point. Is this correct?
Correct.
Which part?
Yes.
It's not good, man. That's not good.
No, it was just, all the way through grade school. Like I was always bullied, but I never fought back. So they thought that one day I was just going to go nuts. And I was like, really? So you're going to keep fucking with me? All right.
Was that your first murder?
No.
It was not your first murder.
I plead the fifth.
That's dangerous. I think I got the red teeth from. So I'm like, so I had steak dinner for one tonight, and had a nice bottle. I like
your steak looked huge.
It wasn't as big as. Thank you, by the way. It wasn't as. It's not as big as it looks.
That was an impressive piece of meat, Steve.
All right, nope, not happening. It was only about 18 ounces, but it was a. What did I get?
It was a lot bigger than the fillets I ate.
Yeah, it was a bone-out ribeye. I can't remember if it was prime or Angus. I think it was Angus or whatever. I don't know, but it was good. It was like $18, $19 or whatever. It was decent price or whatever. Nothing crazy. It wasn't on sale. They had shit at Kroger. You know what I mean? It was like Sunday night, nothing really there. So I got that one.
Well, if it was $18 and it was 18 ounces, I mean, that's almost a. I mean, that's.
No, wait, what was it? No. Hang on.
I mean, you'd be talking about like $16 a pound.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
yeah, maybe.
Okay.
It was like $14.99 a pound. It wasn't on sale, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
See, we found out that if you're friends with a butcher, they will trim up a tenderloin.
This wasn't planned, man. This wasn't planned.
But they'll trim it up and then weigh it. That's always helpful too.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So Hockey Dan, he's a butcher at Kroger. So yeah, my wife will buy a beef tenderloin and he'll actually cut it up into steaks and then package 2 at a time. And then just whatever the total weight of what it was trimmed, that's what we pay at the register.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've had Hockey Dan help me out on that. I just like I said, this wasn't really planned. I didn't really know what was going on this evening, and then I was like, you know what I'm going to do is not, go just get food somewhere. And so I had some green beans in the freezer, and I am expanding my microwaving cooking skills, and they turned out perfect, by the way.
You microwaved your green beans?
That's the bag that was in there, yeah.
It was a bag. Okay, yeah, that's right.
It was a bag. You just throw it in there. It was like 7 minutes, and then you let it sit there for like 2. It's brilliant.
Okay.
I don't know. Dave Merrick's like, you should try Nate's style of doing your steak and everything like that, and not do grilling again. I was like, no, grilling and microwaving is about my wheelhouse at this point. I'm 40 fucking years old, and what's that?
You did yours on the grill, and there's a lot of people that would probably rather do theirs on a grill than in cast iron.
It turned out really well, actually. I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah. No, the only reason Dave got a cast iron, but then first couple times he was having issues with it. He was smoking up his entire house.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, here's how I do mine. And then that, last Sunday, I actually posted a series of videos, like step by step almost, of how I was doing mine. And so he did his that same way last week. And one of his friends had actually commented about the smoke. Like, how was the smoke this week? He's like, it was a lot less. I used bacon grease.
There you go.
Yeah, using bacon grease for the steaks has nothing to do with flavor whatsoever.
Really?
Yeah. It's got a higher
And that's disappointing.
It's got a higher smoke temperature. So you can heat it up higher without producing smoke.
I wish it would taste a little bit more like bacon. I'm going to be honest. Again, very disappointed.
Well, between the bacon grease and then the 2 strips of bacon that's cooked in with the green beans, I think you're good.
Fair. Yeah, I didn't do the green. I didn't have bacon. It was, like I said, it was a bag. It was a bag of green beans, and I put pepper on them. It was good.
That's what we used to do. And then Jess actually started on Saturday when she goes to the grocery store. She started getting some of the fresh green beans, and then just put those in the fridge, and then cut them up and trim them before I cook the steaks. And there's just a different taste, a fresher, crisper taste to them.
Yeah.
Frozen green beans are fine when, if that's what you got.
That's what I got. And then also Jonathan Harris.
Hi, Jonathan.
If he admits to a murder here, this would be great for the podcast ratings. I agree. I think it would go viral, possibly. If we could find out where the bodies are. Not making light of it. Murder's bad.
Hard to have a case without a body.
Don't drink, like you said it right. Jesus. Yeah, and LJ says you could put the beans in the grill too as the flavor. I agree, but again, I don't think I should do it with a frozen bag that says it's made for microwave. I could take them out of there and then put them in a pot. Whatever. I
was going to say the bag might melt in the pan.
I handled it just like I handled this bottle of wine. It's everything's.
It worked out.
Sunday.
Difference is you got that bottle of wine and it's just yourself. I had to split that bottle of wine that we had tonight.
Well, I had to restock. I've only had the one, but I've got 4 bottles. Just because I ran out of wine, so I figured that'd be a good time to stock up. I don't have as much whiskey as you. I'll say that.
Or wine.
Yeah.
I think we've probably got about 30 bottles of wine in the basement right now.
No one likes a bragger, and you need to drink more.
Well, no, the problem is Jess buys more than one each week, but typically Sunday's the only night that we drink wine.
Like I said, you need to drink more. That's fine.
Well, that's up to her.
I just solved this.
That's up to her.
That's fine. It's not up to her. Wait, what?
Well, because she was starting to get stomach ulcers if she was drinking more than once a week. So
yeah, all right, I got it.
So what are your plans? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I thought you were getting ready to read a comment.
Comment was, why is Steve's face naked? I trimmed my beard today. That's it, man. And the reason it looks so naked is because I basically just have gray hair anymore for most of my beard.
It just blends in.
Yeah, it's the lighting. It's studio lighting, I think is what it is. We have a lot of, yours is not blending in.
No.
It's not blending in.
Oh, I can't wait to go back to the office.
So I waited to go. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Just so people can see this, and I want to see their reaction.
And you have 1 month, and then you have to trim it up or whatever, right? That's it.
Yeah. Whenever we go back to the office, I'm going to keep it for a month, unless the vice president of the company threatens to fire me.
Yeah, I'm voting for you to go back to the office because I want to see you take this off there. We can do it on the podcast.
Do a fundraiser on the podcast.
GoFundMe, yeah, GoFundMe would be great. We could do for a charity, see if anyone chimes in, or just for the Patreon page because we can be considered a charity at times.
No, that's what we could do. We could do a special Zoom only for Patreon, the top tier Patreon members.
Charity would bring in way more money.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you that right now. No, I waited to go on my walk today because I had an incident on what was it, Saturday morning with a lady on the path.
Yeah.
Try not to go on a full blown rant today, but yeah, I did go out later. no one really commented about the cigar, but I was really kind of like passively smoking it. It affected me, man. That shit affected me. I don't like it.
Well, it happened twice this week.
Yeah, and Tony was being a little bit of an asshole. He was not an asshole. He was just pulling a lot, and there's so many people out there. It's just frustrating, that he's.
It's probably better for him if you're doing it earlier in the morning, just because there's less going on around him.
Yeah, but then I have this.
Yeah, but you get to deal with that then.
User. Yeah, but it's a Sunday. I think the weekend is the worst.
Oh yeah.
I thought we were past all this stuff about like cigar smoke and everything like that. Apparently we're not, because everyone's got a goddamn opinion.
And the problem is people don't have the sense to just turn off letting that filter open up.
I really don't want to get to that point of a direct response to people. So what happened was, I told Nate this, I've told a couple other people, for those listening, so I'm out there and I've been out on these paths for what now, 4 months or so?
Yeah, since December.
So it was like the winter time and everything else. There's no one out there. It doesn't matter what day of the week it was. Now that it's nice out, we have all these people out there running and biking, which is great. I think that's fantastic. I'm still out there, and I was walking the paths basically by myself, smoking a cigar, listening to music, having a good time, good reflection. We've talked about this. And then now with Tony the dog, it's him and I walking, and it's something that I was out 2 or 3 weeks ago, and some lady on a recumbent bike is rolling by, and before she even passes me, she's like, I wish you wouldn't smoke your cigars, or I wish you'd find another place to smoke your cigars than on the paths where we're all at. And I'm like, I'm out here every day. Sorry you don't like it. But like, as I'm saying that, she's already blitzing by me. So it's frustrating, you know what I mean? Because it's like this passive aggressive fucking like, I'm going to make I need to make my opinion known to anyone, a complete stranger that I've never met this person. But if he does something, then it's like fucking like he's in the wrong. You know what I mean? But I ran my mouth first. This happened again on Saturday morning. This lady's running. I literally stopped smoking my cigar so that I would let her pass. And I was watching Tony because I know he wants to run with all the runners. And then all of a sudden, as she's back, you're killing me, man. I'm like, I'm sorry? Yeah, your cigar. This is as she's running by me. And then Tony's like freaking out because he's trying to like run with her and everything like that. So I'm holding back, and I can hear her still talking and running her mouth, but I didn't hear what she said. And it's like, this is not okay. I don't like it.
Now, you're allowed to have your opinions, but why are you sharing them with a complete stranger? If like if you want to have a conversation about it, fine. But you don't just sit there and run by someone and go. And I mean, it's essentially like running by, going, "Hey, fuck you," and then just keep running. It's like, no.
I think that's going to be my response back from now on. Is just go fuck yourself. And introduce that to the Elm Creek trails in the suburbs here. Just go fuck yourself.
Isn't that your motto?
What'd you say to me? Like, I'll be happy to have an actual conversation with you, like a real person. But if you want to just like passively aggressive, run by me, like, you fucking cigar, like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you know what? Like, you ruined my day by running the fucking noise pollution out of your mouth.
It probably does more harm for your health too.
Well, I'm still talking about it, so obviously. And it takes a lot for me to get worked up. And like I said, like normally I'm like the nice guy, and I am. And like I said, I'm out here every day, and I don't even know what I said to that lady, but I didn't say anything mean. And it's like from now on, it's like, I mean, do you just say go fuck yourself? It's like you just run your mouth because you feel like you need to have your opinion known. That's where we're at this point. It's like you're back out in the public, you're running by me. And it's like, I get it. You don't like my cigar smoke. I understand that. I respect that. That's totally fine. There are no rules or anything that say I cannot smoke that.
Well, and I've said this before, like if I'm walking and say maybe there's a family walking with their kids on the sidewalk or something, like I will intentionally not puff on my cigar and like cup it in my hand just so that way I'm not smoking in front of their kids. Now, if we're walking and I see the parents sitting there just chiefing down on cigarettes, all right, game on at that point. But no, like if I see someone coming, I won't light up I won't puff on the cigar within, a certain distance of them. Still at this point, anytime I come across someone on the sidewalk, they always walk into the street. Like they don't walk into
the beard. For you, that's the beard at
I
this
don't-
point.
And
It's absolutely the beard. It's absolutely the beard. I'm going to be
well,
honest
and I'm
with you.
tempted because it's happened.
You
so
look
many-
like a serial killer.
Okay. I'm tempted to actually ask.
I mean that in a good way.
I'm actually tempted to ask some of these people, like, hey, I got a question for you. Is it COVID? Is it cigar? Is it the beard? Like, what?
Is it my face?
I'm not going to get offended. I'm not going to get offended one way or the other, but like, just curiosity. Like, I'm on the sidewalk. Granted, I'm not going to fucking move from the sidewalk, but you took it upon yourself to move into the street. Like, what is it about me? Is it cigar, COVID, beard, what? Just out of curiosity.
Luckily for me, the difference is I know.
Yeah, you know it's the cigar.
Yeah.
You look a lot less threatening when you're wearing like your sweater and jackets and stuff than I do when I'm walking in my neighborhood wearing, Carhartts head to toe.
Yeah, absolutely.
With steel toe boots.
On a walk in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Do you do that now? It's like 60, man.
It wasn't this morning.
You had Carhartt steel. It was like what, 45, 50?
Well, so I didn't walk this morning. I walked yesterday. So I'm doing like 5 days a week. Typically Sunday and Thursday are the 2 days I don't walk.
Yeah.
But like even yesterday, I had on my Carhartt overalls. I had a long sleeve tee underneath my Carhartt coat. Because Sunday morning it was like 37, I think, when I took my walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still wear the steel toe boots because they're warm, they're comfortable.
Yeah.
I wear those brown leather Carhartts in the shop on Saturday because working there for 11 hours, that's the most comfortable pair of shoes I own.
Right.
Yeah, if I sit there and I'm wearing tennis shoes, by the time 5, 6 o'clock rolls around, my feet are killing me. Wearing those boots,
these dogs are barking.
Yours?
No, that's what you would say. That's what people would say.
Okay.
I'd wear flip-flops. I don't like socks. I'd wear flip-flops all the time. Or go barefoot.
Even in the cigar shop?
If I could. 100%.
Do you want to go barefoot on that carpet?
Sure. I have no problems with that.
All right.
No problems with that. This is actually a really good pairing, by the way. This Monte Cristo 1935. And I just poured a bit of... I really like the Vineyard Bogle. I don't know why, because it's like $10 bottles. They're great.
We've had that before.
Yeah, Bogle. Like I had Alamos is another one that I got from Wine of the Month years ago, and the Alamos Malbec. But I had the Alamos Cabernet, and then this is the Bogle Old Vine Zinfandel. But I don't know. I just really enjoy being able to like $10 bottle. Great, but this cigar is more than the bottle of wines that the bottles of wine I'm drinking right now.
Yeah, most of the bottles that Jess gets, they tend to be under that $20 range. Or $20 price point.
Yeah.
The one we had tonight was one that she'd bought a couple months ago, and like every week she's like, "Oh, is it this one?" Because I put it in that sleeve, so it's like a blind tasting. She doesn't know what it is that we're drinking, and I have no expectations whatsoever because I don't know why she bought it. And she kept guessing this bottle. Is it this one? Like, nope, something else. Is it this one? And then finally this week, it happened to be that bottle that we finally drank. And she liked it. We both enjoyed it. We both gave it, like an 8, 8.5.
Yeah.
Something that we would definitely buy again. Just didn't move into our top 5 reds.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. $10 bottle. Can't beat it.
$4 Chuck, right?
It was $2 Chuck at one point, but that's because I'm
now
old.
Now it's $4.
Yeah, they call it $2 Chuck when it was like $3.25 and $3.75 and all that stuff.
And we actually had that one night for Steak and Wine Sunday. We had a bottle of the Charles Shaw Cab Sav.
Cabernet.
Yeah.
Jonathan Aaron said he had a Faust 2017 cab last night. I assume that's that's got to be more expensive than $10. Sounds more expensive.
You might be surprised. I mean, we've had some absolutely fantastic wines, that $10 to $20 range. That Charles Shaw cab sav that we had, it was better than some of the $30 and $40 bottles that we've had.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, that's why I had so much press. I mean, that $2 Chuck. I mean, it was actually a really solid bottle of them, no matter what the varietal was. But
it's because they were buying up the grapes that just didn't meet the standards of some of the other bigger wineries, and so they're like, "All right, fine, we'll take them." And they made wine with it, and it was fantastic and cheap.
Here's your answer.
Oh, 3 digits.
The father-in-law was picking. Hopefully, the father-in-law was also paying.
Yeah, I have a hard time paying triple digits for a bottle of whiskey, let alone a bottle of wine.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to do that. I just don't. I don't do it. What else is going on? I don't know. Like, anyone out there have anything going on this week? I feel like we're getting to that half-hour mark. I don't know if I want to do a 30-minute or 60-minute. It seems like 30 minutes based on this conversation. Everyone's kind of commenting what we're commenting. That he was. We had 2. Jesus Christ, must be nice.
We might be buying a car tomorrow.
What kind of car are you buying?
As of right now, it'd be a Buick Enclave.
Buick. I love Buicks, old school and now the new ones. I hate Buick commercials.
You don't like Matthew McConaughey?
That's Lincoln, and I love Matthew McConaughey. Not like that, but I'm a very big fan of him. But no, Buick commercials. Nope.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, it's Buick. I'm like, huh, really? It's like, yeah, you can't tell by that fucking emblem. Yeah. No, it's just, very clean car, very, very well maintained. Has a lot of features, and we're at the point where we can sit there and just write a check for it. So
yeah,
Jess really liked it. You'd probably like it because it's got 2 sunroofs.
Panoramic. It's a panoramic thing. It's the whole thing, right?
No, it's just got 2 sunroofs.
It's got 2. Can you open both?
Yes.
That's kind of badass. I said.
And,
like I said, I like Buicks. I don't like Buick commercials.
Yeah. And when her and I were talking about it yesterday, she's like, yeah, I liked it so much. I almost just – because I've told her – because she's done a lot more research and stuff into this vehicle. Because the last vehicle that we purchased, we were just kind of rushed and panicked into it because we needed another car because, our other car was having some issues. We're at the point now where we can actually just, get something we want. So she's been doing a lot of diligence, doing research, test driving, and all that kind of stuff. And she just absolutely fell in love with this car, the way it drove, the way it rode, how clean it was. It was some snowbirds that had owned it, so they were driving to Florida and back every year. A lot of, primarily highway miles, and you can tell just by the condition of the interior and stuff that it was highway driving and not city driving.
Sure. Well, it's a Buick, so.
But she's like, I almost went ahead and bought it and was going to drive to Easton while you were working at the cigar shop and just go, hey, look what I did.
She would never do that.
She almost did. And she's like, I figured if I was going to spend that much money, I should probably talk to you first. I'm like, well, it's not like you need my permission. Yes, talking about it is a good idea before you drop that kind of money, but it's like, I know that we have saved for this. You've been very diligent. Like, that's what
you would never do that, though, because she would be too nervous about it.
Yeah, I think so.
Jonathan Heron says you should read McConaughey's new book. It's really good. I have heard that, and I actually think I want to do the audio book because I heard that he actually reads said book, and it's Matthew McConaughey. So
Matthew McConaughey reading a book by Matthew McConaughey.
And it's had great reviews, so I definitely want to check that out. Yeah. Nothing else really going on in the comments. I don't know what's going on this week. What do we have on the podcast? We have some bottles sent from us from Aaron Brose, who is the one that sent us other bottles. So stuff that has been done by Barrel Craft. Is that right? Barrel Craft?
Yeah. There's we've enjoyed their stuff so much.
Yeah.
Especially that New Year one that we did.
Yeah.
That was probably because I think by now we've actually had. That's been the fourth. The New Year's one was the fourth different Barrel Craft product that we've had.
Yeah, and I have to go pick up another one. I think it's called Stellum is the new one that won't be on this week unless we want to do those. But I'm going to pick those up tomorrow at FedEx. So it's really fun going to FedEx to pick up things that literally on the box it says alcohol. Like, this is alcohol. And I'm like, oh, you again? Oh, yep. Oh, thank you.
Well, and see, I've actually thought about with the podcast. Almost, turning the other way, because there are times where we've done these Sunday check-ins or even during the podcast where people have asked about, what's your favorite bourbon at this price or this price. And I think it'd be kind of cool that, outside of some of these gifted bottles that we have for the podcast, to actually start doing some of these, under $30, under $20 bottles. Not because we think they're all going to be amazing, but it's like, it's bourbon. There are people that are buying it. Let's review it. Let's see what it is, and see if it's any good.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. I'm looking forward to these samples.
Yeah, yes. I mean, let's put it this way: if we start doing some of those budget bottles, people need to not expect the same type of ratings as we normally give to like Barrel Craft products. Like,
I don't know. With you judging it, it could be better or worse. You never know. Could be better or worse.
Hey, as long as it's better than that Wiggle Organic, we're good.
Come on, it's organic, man. You know what I love about? Here's a random topic. I was going to actually post on Facebook, but I'm trying not to post like my random stuff. Just because. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to other friends. I'll talk to my family and all that. I'm literally backing out of the driveway. And the other day, this is just suburban life. Anyone lives in like a neighborhood. I'm not even like a nice suburb, but I'm in like a nice enough suburb. It's just, nothing crazy by any means. Like, I can see a major road from my backyard. This is not like glorious living, but it's nice enough, right? And I got great neighbors. In this cul-de-sac, we have great neighbors. But I see my neighbor who moved in, not the one that did the one pump thing, with I show you that video, Nate? Matt across the street. He did a video where he's like, it's opening day, and then he's like 31 years old, and he's all like done up. He like takes a chug out of like a bush lighter or whatever.
I'm calling bullshit on that. My guess is he actually got it started, let it run, then shut it off, and then started the video.
Maybe I believe in his validation. I think he would not do that. He might not have posted the video if it didn't work. But anyways, he does the whole thing. He's like, first try, type thing, and let's go type. It's like that suburban dad thing, even though they don't have kids. But then I see the other neighbor right across the street that also bought the house before him, and I saw him putting together a new mower. Like had a box and all that stuff. So he's out there, and I caught myself. I'm backing out of the driveway, I think, to go to the gym this morning. And he's out there. And I'm like, how's the new mower, Jake? I'm like, oh, God, I really said that. He's like, it's great, man. I really, and he goes into it. And I'm like, I'm happy for him. But at the same time, I'm like, this is where I'm at. This is my life. And I'm not ashamed of it. I think it's fantastic. But it's like, when I said that, I'm like, I love my cul-de-sac because it was literally like last Saturday, a week ago, I got home and Abby and Matt across the street, Abby messaged me. She's like, hey, I got my brother over here and a couple other friends. And, you can bring Tony over and see how he does with Roy and all this stuff. I'm like, all right, I'll be over. Well, then I'm over there until like 2 a.m. on a Saturday night drinking with them and some of their friends and everything like that. And it's funny because then Ben and Kylie come over, and the Kylie watches Tony now on my long days. And so they come over, and like their friends are like, wait a second, can I stop? So you live across the street and you guys live next door. It's like, is there a house for sale on the street? Because I want to move into this neighborhood. Like, this doesn't happen anymore. I was like, yeah, you're right. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then you got me saying, nice mower. How's the new mower? How's the new mower, Jake?
You're gonna be that guy that's just standing out in the driveway with a glass of whiskey or beer in your hand, just looking at all the neighbors, just side eyeing them.
Maybe
you, me, and maybe Dustin or someone else all just stand in the driveway and look like king of the hill. We're all just standing there judging the whole neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't need to judge anymore. Like, we're all in it together. That's what's so great about it.
Mm. I don't know. You seem to have much better neighbors than I do.
But I lucked out, and it's like they've and the ones before them, they were fine. They were fine. I mean, they'd been here, for like 20 years, and they were really nice families and all that stuff. But it's actually kind of cool. In fact, the ones that like Jake and them moved into, and even the other one, Matt and Abby, they both were kind of like, they were happy that they sold their house to a younger couple, because that's how they remember moving in. And then, with me being here and before, it was like kind of a couple thing as well. And now it's just me, but it's like, it's still like this younger feel where we're trying to take care of our houses. We're trying to take care of the lawns. We're socializing. I mean, you think about it. I know 20 years ago or whatever, I mean, these houses were built in the 70s, so I'm sure they went through their waves of this type of thing, but it's kind of nice that, in 2021, that you can have this feel of what I remember growing up in the 80s and 90s, where the neighbors actually, like, you fucking talked to each other and you hung out, and you had, if you had a grill out, you at least would let them know. And now it's like, I'm like, hey, I'm having some people over tonight or tomorrow for a grill out. If you guys want to stop by, let me know so we can pick up enough food. I mean, that I think it happens, but it's so much rarer than it used to be.
So the elderly lady that kind of lives to the corner of my backyard, she's the one who one of her sons happened to be in the backyard wearing a shirt that was whiskey themed. Turns out he listens to the podcast.
That's right.
But no, she's having a new patio and a pergola built.
Nice.
And she's like, hey, as soon as I get this done, I'm having you over. I'm having those neighbors over. I'm having those neighbors over. Fuck those neighbors. I'm like, yeah, sure. Just let us know as soon as it is. This is also a lady, that she doesn't drive or go out anywhere on her own. So we've gone out and, picked up firewood for her or little things at the grocery store or whatever that she needs. Just because with her age, she doesn't drive anymore. So either her kids do it or neighbors do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's like, yes. She's like, I want to get you guys over. And apparently she is also a very big bourbon fan. It's not that she has a big collection. She just turns out really likes bourbon as well.
She likes to get drunk. I like it. I like her already.
She'd probably like you too.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Yeah, it's nice. All the neighbors on all but one side, cool with. Like, everyone's cool. You just got that one. There's always that one in the neighborhood or on the street. There's always that one.
Right.
I just happen to live next to that one.
I had, in my old house back in the day, I had kind of an asshole neighbor. And I'm very, very thankful that in this neighborhood, I actually rented a house for several years, a street back, and I'm still friends with neighbors. In fact, the person that rents the house now is the son and his son of a great couple that live 2 houses down from them. So I still see them. In fact, I was the one that actually kind of hooked them up so that he could get that house, and get in front of the line, if you will. And then I got the Faulkner. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's nice. I live in a neighborhood that is, it's nice, but like I said, it's not a really high end neighborhood. But I think sometimes it doesn't matter. And I learned this from my moving days. You can have a lot of money, you can have no money, but if you're an asshole, you're an asshole. And I think that's really where it's at. So what I've felt fortunate about here is especially with the old cul-de-sac, it was great too. But the cul-de-sac that I'm on now, it has now evolved in a short period of time, 2 years, where it's like we're talking about doing a block party.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that I haven't heard of anyone doing a block party since, like I said, I was in the 80s or 90s, like really around that, like late 80s, early 90s. No one really does block parties anymore that I know of. Well, college, but no.
I think I actually went to a block party about a decade ago. It happened to be in the neighborhood my sister lives in.
Yeah.
But I mean, pretty much, that neighborhood was new enough that all the families that lived in that neighborhood were like 20s and 30s. It wasn't an older neighborhood, like kind of like the neighborhood I grew up in. All right. The neighborhood I grew up in, that neighborhood was founded in 1963. There are still some people that are the original owners of the homes in there.
Yeah, my neighbor actually is built in 75, and she's the original owner.
Yeah.
Which now I look at the market and it's like that's gonna be like a fixer upper, and they're gonna flip it and they're gonna make a shit ton of money. Whoever buys that.
That's possible if that's the route they want to go. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is something Jonathan says. He's still watching. Moved into our neighborhood in February, so he just moved down to Texas. He used to be in Kentucky and was our rep here for General in the Columbus area. No real connections yet. Hoping to make some soon. Everyone parks in the garage and hangs in their backyard. That's something that we talked about on the podcast during COVID. And it was something that, we talked about. I think it was Michael Herklotz from, at the time, Nat Sherman. He's got his own. So he was talking about like the front porch neighbors now, where during the shutdown, it was one of those things like people are now, for like the social atmosphere, instead of hanging out in their backyards, they're actually sitting on their front porches or in their driveways. And when a car goes by, they're like, waving and all this stuff, just like have some sort of social interaction. A lot of people actually put their backyards or patios together because they want to have their little like escape.
Well, I think the other
again, luckily I'm on a cul-de-sac, so there is a little bit of this where I'm on the end of a cul-de-sac, like on a court, like it's.
But I think with back patios or decks or whatever, you have so much more room for activities. My front porch is barely bigger than yours, Steve. So it's got enough room for me to sit in a chair and have a little table next to me. But it's off the street. It's got an overhang. If someone drives by, unless they're looking, they're not going to see me. Whereas the back patio, you got this bigger concrete slab. You got a big table out there. I can put chairs. We just bought an umbrella and put it together. It's got this maple tree that provides shade during the summertime. Plus, in the summertime, the whole afternoon and evening, that sun's coming down on the back porch. Whereas on the front porch, it'd be just the morning hours where it's getting the sun, the early morning hours, because then you got the roof of the house over top.
Right.
So there's more sunlight sitting on the back patio. So for us, that's why the back patio is more appealing.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I used to sit, obviously, as you know, like I grill, and we sat there one night before the podcast. It's actually really nice because the sun sets in front of my house. Yeah. And so I used to grill out. I got the music in the front, and before I did the patio, it was just nice. It was just really, really nice.
Well, but then also there was that one Wednesday 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I showed up. We got everything. We got the studio ready for the podcast. We had about 30 minutes before we actually went live. Everything was done, and you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to open this garage door and just sit right here in the garage door, and that's it. And so literally the two of us were each in one bay of your garage. So social distancing. We're each sitting in one, in front of one garage door, just facing the sunset, and just, maybe I think we were both having a pre-podcast pour, but we were just sitting there shutting up and enjoying the weather.
I used to love doing that a lot, and now that I have the patio, it's actually really nice too. It's give or take.
That patio and the patio furniture and set that you have, that's killer. It's very inviting.
Thank you.
it's one of those where like even some of the post podcast nights,
Yeah.
where 3 or 4 of us been sitting back there, it eventually gets to that point, and I think it's easier when you have a group of guys that are close friends. Like, guys will just sit there and just not talk.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
everything's cool. Like,
yeah.
everything's good. We just all shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and it was funny. Like my mom came over not too long ago, and it was really nice because she sat down on one of the chairs, and we sat there for like 15 minutes talking or whatever, and then all of a sudden, like I think it's just the connection, right? So like even my mom, she kind of like sat. Well, she couldn't sit back because we didn't have the back cushions out there, but she's like, well, I gotta get going before I sit here all day. Because I definitely could, and it's not like the nicest. Like it's a nice patio. It's not the nicest. Like I said, I got Sunbury Road, not too far, so it's just like this whole thing where it's. Oh, she was coming over to meet the dog because she helps out when I can't do it. But it's just nice to do just a little bit extra. You know what I mean? As far as that goes, and I'm happy that we were able to do it.
My mom actually sent me pictures today from the house that she moved into a few weeks ago in North Carolina, and it looks absolutely gorgeous on the inside and outside. Like one of the pictures she showed me, you can see the house in the foreground, but in the background you got the mountains, and it just looks peaceful.
Yeah,
and which is great for her. So she's really enjoying it. With she's got space for her and the dog, but she's just really enjoying
nice.
the quietness of that area right now.
She's happy down there.
She is. Obviously last year was tough on her. I think that's one of the reasons why she made the move. And so she's just enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's something that we should all aspire to.
I agree. So what are we up to this week? What are you up to this week as we round out this Sunday BS session?
Well, so like I said, tomorrow after I get off of work, my wife and I might be driving up to a dealership and buying a car. That'll be interesting because it'll be the first time that I've actually bought a car from a dealership, even though this is a used car. It'll be the first time I've bought a car from a dealership since I bought my current car, and that was 14 years ago. So, wow. Yeah, because the other car that we had, we bought from just an individual, a private seller.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I haven't bought a car from a dealer since 2007. But no, I mean, I hope it all works out well. I know Jess is excited about it. I kind of told her, it was like, I kind of look at this as this is your car, and she's like, well, but you're going to drive it too. I'm like, no, I know I'm going to drive it, but like the days when I have to go to the shop and you're working from home, like I'm going to drive my car. Like I'm not going to drive this one because and then I'm sure work is going to be interesting this week. Last week we had a new system deployed, and I've told you how just absolute shit show that was last week. So we'll see how that goes this week. I'm sure there's still going to be a lot of the same problems. I'm sure nothing's going to be fixed anytime soon.
Before you get down that path, I do want to actually hone in on this. You're buying a used car from a dealer, yeah?
Yes.
Have you talked to the salesperson?
Just did.
How's it going? I hate buying a car from a dealer. It's one of the worst things I feel like you can go through.
Okay.
What are the two biggest purchases that you make typically? It's the house and the car, right?
Correct.
And what are the only two things in America that we barter on?
Not those.
Everything else has a price. Everything else is like, oh, you listed it for this. I'll give you this for it.
Wait, yeah, the opposite. Yeah.
So just those.
Yeah.
Your two biggest purchases, you go in knowing now the real estate market is different, obviously, right now, and certain cars are as well. But it's like you go in there like, oh, the house is listed for $200,000. I'll give you 180. You're like, what?
Like,
But you
no,
go into
someone
it on
else is
both
going to get
sides. You know you're
210.
supposed to do this, and this is what pisses me off about it. Cars the same way. It's like they list it for like before car gurus and before all this stuff, and even after that, I have these experiences with buying cars that I absolutely hate. It's one of the worst buying experiences ever. So I want a full report when you go in there with Jess and you guys buy this car.
So our hope
And are you
is,
going in? Are you going to like not lowball, but are you going to do that?
our hope is that since we can literally write a check and pay for the whole thing. I mean, hell, if it made it,
Are you going to offer less though? That's my thing. Are you going to offer less?
that's our hope. Yes, we're going to offer a little
No,
bit
I'm not.
less.
It's not a hope, but like, so what's it listed for?
14.5,
What are you going to offer?
13.
Out the door or with tax?
I'll say 13 out the door, 14 if all the taxes and fees are included.
No, that's what out the door means. So you're going to offer 13.5 out the door, and you'll go up to. Do you have a stopping point? 14.5. I mean, you pay those.
Obviously, we're not going to pay more for the car than what it's listed.
No, I'm going to say you're going to pay. You're going to pay what they ask. Or 14.5.
Well, we're also hoping that that they'll take the trade in of the car that we have that we want to get rid of.
And they can always work that out, where they'll give you a little bit more on that.
But that's why I would rather try and settle on the new car before, like, if they sit there and say, "Yeah, we'll take 13.5 on the car," like, cool. We also have a trade in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they may sit there and not budge
tactic.
Otherwise, they might not sit there and budge on the price of the car if they know we have a trade in.
Right. The last time, so there's two Cadillacs, right? So the one I'm driving now, and that was one where I got the line of, like, oh, with, car gurus, we can't do this, blah, blah, blah. But my favorite was my 06 DTS I bought in 2009. And it was one of those, I walked in, dealt great. It was listed for like 24. I forget what it was. I think it was like listed for like 24 and they like lowered it already, but whatever. And I had this number in my mind that I was like, I'm not going to pay more than 21.5 for this car. And so I gave an offer. It was listed for like 23, 24. And I was talking to the salesperson, and it was one of those things where it's like, all right, I'll offer you this. So I don't know if it's going to work. Let me go over my sales manager, which was the next office over. Next office over with a glass like window wall, right? So then he's like, all right, he wants to talk to you. I go over there and he's like, all right, so like he said, what's your offer? It's almost like, what's your final answer? I was like, well, this is what I'm gonna pay. And he's like, you wouldn't respect me if I sold you this car for that much. I'm like,
yeah, I would.
And I said that. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't know about respect, but I would definitely bring it in for service and everything. Yeah, but what do you mean? There's another car that's like, 100 miles away that's listed really close to the same thing for that price. Yeah, but you have to drive and get that. I was like, all right. He's like, we got like, other test drives set up for this weekend. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, this is it. Like, this is what I want to offer. And I had this thing in my mind. It was 21.5 was my, that's what I was asking you. Like 21.5 was my end all be all this stuff. So we end up leaving. The guy smells like Aqua Velva. He's been doing this since the fucking 70s. I mean, it was really bad. It's really bad. I think he had the same tie on as well. It was like this like bad paisley tie, which I'm all about paisley, but like it's a bad paisley tie.
Well, so that's what
two on it.
Yeah,
that's a high-end like dealer too.
Yeah. Well, that's why, like, if it made it easier for us to get a deal on the car, I would go to the bank and actually take out the cash for it, and then go to the dealership and be like, here is 13 grand in $100 bills. Like, that makes it a lot easier for them to sit there and go, oh shit, this person's actually serious. Like, yeah, we can get this done right now. Sign the paperwork, done. Like, yeah, like I would do that, and they're usually a little more receptive when you're sitting there going, no, I will pay for this whole thing right now.
But that should give you more like a little bit like wiggle room. That's what I'm saying. So like that was the whole thing with mine is that it was basically I left there. Yeah, we didn't have a deal at school or whatever. And then the guy calls me later. He's like, hey, sorry, it worked out that way. I'm like, that's fine. You know what I'm looking for. If you guys get another car, you know what I'm looking for and the price I'm looking for. And he's like, oh, yeah, absolutely. And then about 6-7 days later, he actually like called me. He's like, hey, are you still looking for cars? I'm like, yeah, what do you got? He's like, well, I just want to see if you were still interested in the same one. I was like, test drives didn't go well? He's like, well, yeah, we didn't sell it and all that stuff. I was like, all right, well, I'd be happy to come back in and talk to you. He's like, yeah, that's what we want. And I was like, but I don't want to come back in and have this conversation the same way where I know what I'm looking for and my budget and everything else. And he's like, yeah, come on in. So I came in there and I to finish my little story there. The guy's like, well, what do you want to offer me? I was like, I looked at the guy. This like he's 2 times my age, easy at that point, if not 3. And I'm just like, what? I looked over at this guy. I remember his name, Mark. I don't remember the sales manager name. I was like, Mark, you called me back in here. I came in here. I told you I didn't want to have the same conversation. Whoa, hang on. Well, I mean, it was like this classic fucking used car sales. That's why I'm asking. I do not envy you. So I'm sitting there and he's like, well, hang on a second. I'm like, well, I said, well, what do you want to offer me? Like, you called me back in here. And he does the whole fucking write a number down on a sheet of paper. And I said, so again, mind you, it was like 23, 24, whatever, sticker. And I was like, what do you want to sell me out the door? Just tell me. I want to know, because he was like, oh, is it the loan? I was like, no, that's not your concern. I'm financed for whatever I want to be financed for. You know, it has nothing to do with that. Because we can get you our own financing. I was like, no, like, stop. So he writes down this number and he writes it down. I look at it. I'm like, remember what I said earlier. And I look at it. I'm like, is this out the door or is this, you know, before tax? He's like, that's out the door. And I said, done. He's like, what? I'm like, done. And there was like this X with a line because those mean nothing. You know what I mean? He's like, just tell me you're serious about it. Just, you know, sign on this X. It's a blank sheet of paper with a number on it. It's all part of the game. He's like, oh, you're good? So what did I tell you that my end all be all was out the door?
21.5.
21,498 he wrote down. He beat it by $2 fucking. And I could have like fucked with it more. I was like, no, you hit it. And I said, that's out the door. He said, that's out the door. I said, all right, done. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, done. And I never told him that, you know, I should have told him. I was like, yeah, my number was 21.5. You should have, you cost $2 on that. Well, or just throwing $2 on the fucking, like, on his Aqua Velva tie. Like, here's your $2. I want my $2.
A little shorter story. I told you the story about one of Jess's friends that won several world championships in quarter horse events. He had gone to a dealership and was talking to a salesman about buying a brand new pickup.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to come back in 2 weeks. I'm going to get all my money together. I'll be back in 2 weeks and buy this truck. And he shows up 2 weeks later. That sales rep was not there at the time. But he had just gotten done working at the barn and riding horses. So he's wearing dirty boots, dirty jeans, shirt, whatever. He's got a cowboy hat on. And that sales rep is like, hey, how can I help you? He's like, yeah, I'm here to buy that truck right over there. And the guy's like, I don't think we have any trucks for you. Like, I don't think any of the trucks we have are in your price range. He's like, excuse me? Where's so-and-so? He's like, oh, he's not here today. He's like, well, I talked to him. I was going to buy this truck. He's like, I don't know if that's going to work for you. He literally goes to the dealership next door, buys the exact same truck in cash.
Yeah, that's good.
And I feel like he should have done the scene in Pretty Woman and just driven the truck back to that dealership. And like, you guys work on commission, right? Big mistake.
Big mistake. Bet he didn't look like Julia Roberts back in that time, though.
No, he does not.
No, not then or now.
Ever. No.
All right. We're approaching the hour mark. We're going to do 30.
Yeah.
Did you just choose yourself?
I clinked off the coffee table.
Bingo. Yeah. All right. For those that listen, guys, thank you very much. We haven't done this in a few weeks, and I'm glad we did it. Again, this is just more content. This is just a random bullshit session, as we call it, BS session. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great week. We'll see you on Wednesday night. Nate, thanks for the inspiration for Steak Sundays.
I know.
Starting to catch on. If you guys are on the Bourbon and BS community page on Facebook, this is something that you guys can actually follow along with. Apparently, there's more people doing this, whether it's intentional or not. But I think it's going to become more and more intentional, just like my old man walks, just like the focus thing, all that stuff. So it's just putting it out there because it gives people that you don't even think about that are like actually watching. You're like, you know what? I'm going to do a steak tonight. It's Sunday. Yeah, I'm going to do a steak tonight.
You're inspiring people to walk. I'm inspiring people to eat. And it's just,
it's a balance thing like we always talk about on this podcast. So
that's right.
All right, guys, have a great week. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of what's left of Sunday. There's not much left of it if you're on the East Coast. We will talk to you guys soon.